Hello, everybody. Welcome to Run and Code, humor in South Texas law enforcement. I am your host, T-Bone. With me, as always, my partner, J-Man. J-Man, how you doing today?
How you doing, everybody?
All right, you ready? Glad this week is over?
Mm-hmm.
But you're starting another one.
It's okay. It's bittersweet.
We're getting paid, right?
Getting paid.
All right, as long as we're getting paid. Because he who gets paid gets laid. Anyway, today, what we're going to talk about, though, is something specific. Because we've had a lot of questions about traffic. Because we mentioned before that you and I are both traffic officers. So people have asked me to explain certain things in the traffic code. And I have written them down here so I don't forget any for you listeners, and we do appreciate your feedback and your questions. The traffic code, if you want to be specific, there's 1,000 reasons to stop a car in the traffic code. The obvious ones everyone understands is speeding, fail to signal, run a red light, stuff like that. The big obvious ones. And if you haven't done those things, the light's going behind you, and your thought, and I've heard this before, is, well, what other reason could there be for you stopping me?
Yes, I've heard that too.
We're going to explain it. When I'm getting out of my Tahoe to walk up to you, you should not be hollering out the window at me, because I will talk to you when I get to the window of the car. So this drives me bonkers. I can't hear you. Traffic going by me on the left. I cannot hear you. So you're hollering for no reason. And all you're doing is just starting this off on a bad tone, because I already know if you're doing that, this is probably going to go south, because you're already mad.
Mm-hmm.
Get it. You got pulled over. But sometimes it might not be what you think. Maybe you have a tire going flat, didn't realize it. Maybe your bumper's hanging off and you didn't realize it. It might not be a crime I'm pulling you over for. I may be letting you know there's something wrong with your car.
Yeah.
And that we need to get this fixed before you end up getting hurt or you're hurting somebody else.
Yes.
So start me off with some of the traffic code that you hear misconceptions about all the time.
I want to start it off with this because it's just, I'm seeing it more and more. And there's this staunch belief that we cannot stop and write citations for it. Window tint.
Oh, thank you.
In the state of Texas,
favorite.
Your back windows can be tinted. Your back windows.
It can be as dark as you want.
Dark as you want. The back windows. Your windshield past a certain point and your two front driver and passenger windows cannot be below 25%.
25.
For your front driver and front passenger, no less than 25%. Okay, so I remember I pulled a person over and they said, "Oh no, the window tint company said that I could do it. They did it this way, so it's legal." Well, I'm sorry to to like kind of burst your bubble, but it's not legal. The legal limit is 25%.
Yeah. So the windshield, and we're starting to see more and more of this. I'm seeing windshield tint, the entire windshield tint.
The entire windshield.
That is a no-go in all 50 states. There's a reason for it. So I don't care what you saw in a car magazine or what you heard from your buddy on the street or what a guy who does window tint tells you because he wants you to pay for it and he's going to put it on. A reputable company will not put windshield tint on your car, on the windshield. They won't do it. But the non-reputable or just want money, yeah, they'll do it. They don't care because they're going to get paid. They're not the ones getting in trouble for it. You are.
Yep.
So let me explain and specify this. If you have a car for a car show and you trailer it everywhere, you could tint those windows as dark as you want because you're not driving on the road. But if you're driving that car on the road with a tinted windshield, that is a no-go in Texas. It's a no-go in all 50 states for a good, valid safety reason.
And for a little bit further clarification, there on some windshields, there's an AS1.
Mm-hmm.
You will see it, and then you see a little hash mark next to it. You can tint the windshield down to that line.
That's it. No
or
further.
5 inches from the top of the windshield down.
That's it.
But if you're just going, full blown, I'm going to dark my car like I dark the inside of my room to go to sleep, all the way down to the bottom of the windshield, you're definitely going to get pulled over. You're definitely going to get a citation, irregardless of what the percentage of light coming through the tint is, irregardless, because the whole windshield is tinted.
Yeah, so stock tint is 78% on stock. That's stock tint coming out of the factory.
Yep.
The reason why, and I'll give you just a great example. If you're driving at night and someone's crossing a crosswalk wearing dark clothing and you get a tint that's dark and you can't see them and you run them over, that could possibly be a manslaughter charge because you covered your windshield.
Yep.
So what I hear all the time, well, I bought the car like this. How long you had the car? 2 years. Okay, you've had 2 years to fix the problem. You chose not to.
Yeah.
Or, well, I read in a car magazine that you can do that now. No, you can't. There is reasons for it. Now, the side two windows is 25% and higher. The windows behind you and back can be as dark as you want. It's very easy for us to tell when you've illegally tinted your windows.
Yes.
I mean, it's instantly recognizable. Like, oh, yep, Because you can compare with all the other cars going by. I can see that person. I can see that person. I can't see that car at all. Okay, now we're going to stop and have a chat. So hearing, I was told this. Did you look it up? And this is the comeback I have all the time, people. Did you look it up?
Yeah.
Did you go into the traffic code and take a gander at it? Did you Google what is the tint law in Texas? No? Okay. Now, that's for Texas plated cars for the side windows. Windshields, it's illegal in all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
Side windows, some states do allow darker tint.
They
Some
do.
states allow no tint in the front too. So if you got a plate that's out in Nebraska and you got a side tint that's darker than we allow in Texas, I'm not going to stop you just for that because I don't know what the Nebraska tint laws are and I can't enforce them anyway because it's Nebraska.
Yeah.
But a windshield is illegal in all 50 states. End of story. I'm going to stop the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my tint reader. I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to show it to you. You need to fix this. Now in Texas, we allow you, if it's a mechanical defect, to correct the defect and get the ticket dismissed. If you correct the defect prior to court, the judge will dismiss it because you fix the problem. That's all we want you to do is fix the problem.
Yep.
But it is a safety thing.
Yes.
The windshield is definitely a safety thing. And the reason why the two windows in the front is so that you can see people crossing from your left to your right or from your right to your left as you're stopped. That's the whole purpose. So we're not trying to kill anyone's fun. If it's going to a car show and you're trailing it, you can do whatever you want to that car because it's not being driven on the public roadway. But you drive it on the public roadway, sorry. I have a tint reader and we're going to find out what your tint is. But I tell you right now, I've gotten to the point where I can say, that's 5%. 5%. Nailed it every time.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing it so long.
Yep.
And they're like, well, I didn't know. And that's the biggest one. I didn't know. That's the one phrase I hear from everybody. I didn't know. I didn't know. Well, you signed your license. You knew.
Yep. And then just to throw it out there, because I'm pretty sure there'll be somebody that says, well, you guys are being untruthful because there is a way you can legally tint your windows.
There
in
is.
Texas.
The
You got
tint
a doctor-
waiver.
Yeah, you got a tint waiver. Typically, doctor's note saying that it's doctor's orders that your window tint has to be up into a certain percentage. It's true. That is true.
That is true.
I've heard it before.
I've seen it.
And I've heard it before. I haven't seen it from the people that I've pulled over. Because if they're going to tell me that,
They
I
have
need to see
produce
it. I need to see it. If I don't see it, but you tell me, I'm still going to write you the ticket. And
Now you
the
can bring
burden
that
of
to court.
yes, the burden of proof is on you during the court date.
That's right. So if you have, like, let's say you're recovering from skin cancer or you have skin cancer, there's something wrong with your skin, a doctor can give you a note stating
Yes.
that you must have tint, but you must have it presented upon request. So if it's in the glove box, you pull it and hand it to me and you read it. And I pulled a couple cars over and they handed it to me and I'm like, okay, sir, you're free to go.
Yep.
Have a nice day. Because they're now legal. So there's no more reason to talk to this person. Contact's over. Have a nice day. Now I'll walk up on the same car because I legally stopped it for the illegal tint. It turns out it was legal, but I still see drugs in the center console. Guess what? The stop was still legitimate. The stop was still valid. So guess what? That does not suppress the stop, which we talked about in the last episode was most to suppress. This does not suppress that.
Right.
So that's what people don't understand. I got another one here. Someone asked me to explain implied consent. Now, implied consent is for DWI purposes. If you sign your license and you're driving on the roads in Texas, you are telling us you give us consent to take your breath or blood. That is what you've done by signing your license and driving on Texas roads.
Yep.
So if we believe you to be impaired and we want to sample your breath or blood, you have limited choices. Here's what I mean by that. You can consent to give us breath or you can consent to give us blood. But if you refuse, then I now have the right to apply for a warrant and take your blood. We're going to find out what's in your system, whether that's alcohol or narcotics or both.
Right.
You don't get the choice. It's taken out of your hands. When we have no refusal, which piggybacks nicely with implied consent, no refusal. Some counties have, this county, this weekend is no refusal because it's going to be Memorial Day, Labor Day, July 4th, New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving. Some counties have no refusal, period. It's no refusal 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get it from you. One way or another, we're going to get it from you. And the bar is not that high for that search warrant. It really isn't. Driving, admittance to drinking, and your performance on the field sobriety test, or if you refused it, but based on your slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, inability to stand straight, whatever, the judge will sign it. We're going to pull it. Now, if it comes back under a .08, okay, I had a legal right to arrest you based on everything I saw. And if it's under a .08, hey, you got away with one.
Yeah.
Okay, it happens. If it's over, well, sorry about your luck, Chuck, you got caught. So that's implied consent and no refusal. So I wanted to bring that up because I've had that question before. Well, I don't give consent. That's fine. I get a warrant. No refusal allows me, and the implied consent allows me to obtain a blood warrant, which is a search warrant for your blood, send it to the lab. We'll pull 2 vials of your blood. One vial goes to the state lab where it's tested by the state lab. The other vial you can have tested by your own lab at your own expense and then compare the results.
Yep.
That's on you. If you choose to spend that money, that's on you. These people crack me up. Being a DWI officer, they crack me up. They're hammered. I mean, you can just smell it pouring out of them. They were doing 10 miles an hour on the highway with no lights on. And then they just have the gall. I didn't drink anything. And you can just smell it pouring out of the car. I love people when they roll down the window 2 inches. And it just pours right that 2 inches right into my nose. Like, I can smell it.
We could go off on a tangent about
first episode we talked about DWI
DWIs
for a good hour.
Oh, you're ruining that person's life. It's not that big of a deal.
Until they kill somebody. Now it's a big deal. That's
going to be what I defer to every single time.
Yep.
When someone tells me that. Oh, why don't you go and talk to the family of someone of a loved one they lost due to impaired driving.
Yep.
And you tell me if it's serious or not.
A Class B misdemeanor for DWI versus an intoxication manslaughter where you're looking at possibly up to 25 years.
Yes.
That's not a small deal anymore. That's a big deal. You've killed somebody. Now, I would like to explain that because it is part. Now even though that's under the penal code, but it's part of driving.
Yes.
To become convicted of intoxication manslaughter where you have killed somebody because you were impaired and you must have caused the crash. Mm-hmm. So there's a difference. So there are some states where the misconception is that you can't if you're impaired, any crash is automatically your fault. That is not true. So to get intoxication manslaughter, you must have been impaired and been the cause of the crash that took somebody's life.
Yes.
So you have to have those two elements, and we discussed in the previous episode, elements of an offense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the same thing with intoxication assault, which means by your driving actions, you caused the crash and you're intoxicated. Somebody is seriously injured, lifelong injury, maimed. That's serious bodily injury. So if you're drunk, but you're stopped at a red light and someone comes up behind you and plows into your car, and they die, that's not on you. That's on them.
Right.
You're still going to get a DWI because you were on the public roadway while intoxicated, but it's not an intoxication manslaughter assault because you didn't cause that crash. So that's the misconception that there's some, I grew up in California, there's always that misconception that if you're drunk, every crash automatically your fault no matter what. That is not true. Not true.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still going to get the base DWI because you're on the public roadway.
Right.
But I think we foot stomped DWI enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
registration and inspection. And people are like, why is that important and why do you care? Let me explain why inspection and registration is so important. And on the inspection note, Texas is getting rid of inspection starting in 2025. I'm not looking forward to seeing some of the seriously jacked up cars we're going to start seeing on the roadway.
See some Flintstone mobiles on the road.
We're going to see some horrible. It'll be a Porsche front end and you go back in with an El Camino. I mean, oh my God. I'm not looking forward to it. But we're going to have a lot more cars to stop.
We'll see some Isuzu Troopers on the road.
Yeah. Well, even just because the inspections are gone doesn't mean that you can still have non-working brake lights, non-working turn signals, non-working headlights. You still have to have those things working. The state is not going to charge you $750 anymore to make sure the car should be on the road, which I think is a huge mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you pull into an inspection station, they tell you brake lights are out, you fix the brake lights, come back, get it re-inspected, it passes, and you register the car, you're good. Yeah. You fix the problem. That's all we want. Fix the problem. Brake lights serve a safety function. They serve a safety purpose. That's why they're there. So I have a problem with them getting rid of inspection, but out of my hands and above my pay grade.
Yeah.
They've signed it. Now, there will still be vehicles that have to be inspected. Commercial vehicles, I think, still will have to be inspected because they're commercial. But that's a whole different entity that does that. Regular passenger cars will not be inspected anymore. But you're going to start seeing, because cars will not pass the illegal window tint, they won't.
Yeah.
Because registration stations check the tint. But now they don't have that, so you're going to see darker tint. They're going to say, well, it's legal because they got rid of inspection. That doesn't make it legal. And that's another misconception we're going to start seeing is because they don't inspect now, it must be legal. It's not. For instance, all lights in the vehicle have to work. All the lights on the vehicle have to work. That is state code right out of the traffic code. All lights on the vehicle must be in working condition. That means if you have 3 brake lights in the back of your car, one's out, I can stop you because you have a brake light out. Fix it. There's 3 on the back of the car for a reason. 2 in the left and right and 1 in the middle. Higher where it has higher visibility. Has to work.
Yeah.
Registration. Inspection. You cannot get a car inspected without valid insurance. So I'm trying to figure out how they're going to do that now. Because the inspection proved you had insurance.
Well, some people drive with no insurance anyway.
They do, but they can't get it inspected without it.
Unless,
This is why I like to stop for no or expired registration, because there's a high probability they don't have insurance, and that's why they didn't get inspected.
right.
And that's why I stop it. I don't care about the registration itself. I care about, are you insured?
Yeah.
Because the insurance is so astronomically high in this county because the amount of people driving around without it and causing the crashes.
Mm-hmm.
So it jerks everybody else's insurance up to pay for that, because the insurance company doesn't pay for it. So they pass the savings on to the insured customer.
Yes.
And their premiums go up every month.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big issue. Now, registration serves a purpose. It says that your car is inspected, it's been registered, it meets the road requirements. You still this person that owns the car, and now you proved it. Now we give you a sticker. That's the purpose of registration. Plus, the fees go towards fixing roads, although I don't know where because I never see it. We got roads that are been under construction since the Civil War in Texas. I'm pretty sure I-35 has been under construction since the Civil War. So, I'm not quite sure where the money's going, but that's what it's for, is roads and maintenance of public buildings and stuff like that. That's what the registration fees are for.
Right.
But the most important thing out of that, the takeaway is not the money going towards government for roads. It's that this car is inspected. It's safe to be on the road around you and your loved ones. That's what it's for. Because if it's high fog and you have no working taillights or brake lights, and I slam into the back of you because I couldn't see you, and all of a sudden you're just there with 10-foot visibility, that's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
And now that crash is your fault.
Yeah.
Not mine, because you didn't have working taillights. You didn't have working brake lights. I couldn't see you. So people don't understand that, and they get all wound up, and oh my God, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's written in blood. That's why it's a big deal.
Yep.
Fishtailing on that nicely, high beams.
Yes.
It is illegal to drive with your high beams on an undivided roadway, blinding everybody.
Yeah. I see that
That's illegal.
A whole lot.
You have a duty to turn off your high beams when you're coming up on cars in an undivided road. What I mean by undivided is there's not a middle divider that blocks the high beams from blinding you. So if you're on a two-way road, and there's no middle divider, and you're coming up on traffic, you have a duty by law to dim your lights back down to normal so they don't blind the other person coming. Because if people don't understand about headlights point down at the road.
Mm-hmm.
High beams point up. So they're going to blind oncoming traffic.
Yes.
Or coming up behind a car, you have a duty to turn your high beams down so they can see through their mirrors. You're not blinding them out so they can't see in front of them now.
It's 300 feet approaching and 500 coming.
I believe that's correct, but I don't want to talk out of turn. I have to. There's reasons behind it.
Yeah,
and there's safety reasons behind it. That's what they are. They're safety reasons. They're not for fun because we just want to ruin your fun. I know my vehicle automatically turns on the high beams when it senses no car, and if it senses a car, immediately shuts them down to low beam.
Yes.
So what I see a lot of is that people put the high beams on because the low beams is out. So they turn on their high beams so they have working lights in both. Well, they're still going to stop you.
Or they turn on their high beams because they have no headlights.
Because they have no headlights. Well, I'm going to stop you because you blinded me. And then I'm going to tell you, turn your high beams off, and voila, you have no headlights at all. Okay, that's why you're doing this. So now you're getting 2 citations, duty to dim lights, defective headlights.
Yeah.
Fix both these problems. Now, one is fixable, turn them off. The other one, you got to go your headlights, bud. Sorry, it is what it is. Anything to add on the high beams?
Just a lot of people don't think that it's serious, but I mean, just imagine you're driving and all of a sudden you just really can't see anything but 2 bright flashlights just right here. Mm-hmm. And there could be an obstruction in the roadway that now you cannot see because of somebody on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct.
It's very, very important. And if someone's coming up on the rear and you don't have a tinted back window, then, it's going to be seen in your rear view mirror first. And just like I said, it becomes a visibility issue. So please, please, please just remember, turn your high beams off.
Yep.
Turn them off.
And on that vein, you're required to turn your headlights on within half an hour of sunset until half an hour after sunrise.
Oh, yeah. So there are some people that it's like 6 in the morning and they're driving with no headlights. I mean, yeah, it may be morning, but if the sun's not out, turn your headlights on. Yeah. That is very unreasonable. That is not reasonable anywhere. Turn your headlights on.
So I see it all the time. Because basically, rule of thumb, once the sun's below the horizon, you got about half an hour till dark.
Mm-hmm.
Turn your headlights on as soon as the sun's below the horizon.
Yeah.
In the morning, you have to have your headlights on until the sun peaks above the horizon. Then you can shut your headlights off.
Yes.
Some cars manually do it. Some cars do not.
Mm-hmm.
So I see it all the time at night where they're driving right by you with no headlights on. Everybody else around you has headlights, but not this one car who's trying to stealth it. And I pull them over. I'm like, you have to turn your lights on. They're on. No, they're not, or I wouldn't be stopping you. You have no lights on. You have no taillights on. You have no headlights on. They can't see you in the dark. It's a black car. You're on the highway. We can't see you. And they want to argue it. And instead of arguing, here's a citation. Duty to display lights. That's the citation. You have duty to display your lights. It is your responsibility as the driver of the car to know your equipment, know your car.
Yes.
Not ours. Yours. You're driving the car. So, yeah, that's another one. I'm going to let you discuss yield signs versus stop signs because I know you have you have a special love-hate with that one.
Yield signs. They're there for a reason. A yield sign is not a stop sign, meaning that if let's just say you're coming on a curve, you're coming off a main thoroughfare, and here in Texas, you're coming off a main road and you want to turn right. Well, instead of you having to turn right in the intersection, there is another lane that you can just turn right onto the next roadway without having to be stopped at a light for those wanting to go turn left or continue on to the street, but just by going straight to the intersection. If there's no traffic coming, that yield sign is not a stop sign, meaning that you can just keep driving. Mm-hmm. The yield sign is there to let you know, hey, traffic's coming, so you need to stop until that traffic has either slowed to where you can pull in front of a slower moving vehicle, or there's no traffic coming, go ahead and proceed. But lots of times you see people stopped at the yield sign, and what that does is that person's impeding traffic.
Yeah.
They're impeding traffic, just 910 because they're backing up the traffic flow. They're going to cause congestion.
Yeah, because there was no reason to stop. If there was no traffic coming that you had to clear for, then what are you sitting there for? But conversely, a stop sign is not a yield sign.
So
I've heard people tell me that. Hey, you ran the stop sign. Well, I yielded. But it's not a yield. It's not a triangle. It was a red octagon that said stop. It didn't say yield. Like, I slowed down. I'm like, well, if I started beating you, would you want me to slow down or stop?
And it even applies to the highway because, and I know that this is a debate because even I had questions before, I started, working in this field. If you're getting on the highway, meaning you're on the entrance ramp onto the highway, the drivers on the highway are not supposed to yield to you getting on the highway.
That is absolutely
You
correct.
are supposed to increase your speed to match the speed of the highway flow of traffic and safely merge into the lane. But you will see individuals that are in the far right lane next to the entrance ramp
at a dead stop.
And they're slowing down. They're doing 40, but the highway speed is 60, 65, even 70. You are impeding traffic. You are going to cause a rear end collision somewhere back on the highway.
Mm-hmm. Or you're going to try to shove your way in and get rear-ended.
Right. So that's just another thing when it talks about yielding. The yield sign is there to be an indicator that, hey, you don't have to stop, dead stop, but you need to mind your speed, make sure you have space to merge into the traffic and continue with the flow of traffic. But it's just funny.
You're absolutely correct.
Someone's on the highway, 40 miles an hour in a 65, and I'm just, oh man, there must be an accident up there. No, it's Joe Citizen, but Joe Citizen is trying to let these people doing 70 on the entrance ramp get in. I'm like, oh yeah, they have no problem, but now I have a problem with this car, and I'm lighting you up.
That's what causes major traffic jams. There's no crash, folks. What you don't understand is people are programmed to see red lights or brake lights and hit their brakes. Mm-hmm. So if you cut a car off up front and he hits the brakes, the car behind him hits the brakes, next car hits the brakes, and then way back it goes. All of a sudden, you created the traffic jam when traffic is flowing freely. Yeah. Now it's going to take a while to unfuck that traffic jam because you just cut somebody off. Traffic on the highway does not have a duty to let somebody in.
Nope.
Now, if you're not tailgating on the highway, there should be plenty of space for someone to enter the highway at highway speeds and move over when safe and re-enter the highway. And we're all going the same speed without having to slam on the brakes and cause a traffic jam. That's what causes 90% of traffic jams. Not being able to merge is another one. This is what causes all the traffic jams around highway interchanges because no one knows how to merge. Mm-hmm. If you just learn how to merge, traffic will flow smoothly. I'm telling you right now, if you took off all the unlicensed vehicles off the road, all the uninsured vehicles off the road, and the people don't know how to merge, you would never have a traffic jam ever. Yeah. Traffic will flow freely at 70 miles an hour, regardless of the time of day. And it would be a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. So we want to discuss those two things. There's an offense in the Texas Traffic Code called disregarding official traffic control devices. Let me explain what traffic control devices are. Red lights, stop signs, yield signs, lane markings, traffic control points, crosswalks. These are all traffic control devices. They're controlling the flow of traffic and telling you what your car is allowed to do or not to do in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Great example. If you're taking an exit off a highway and it's a dash line, and then all of a sudden it becomes solid all the way to the end of the exit, that means that once you have crossed over into the exit lane, you can no longer cross back onto the highway over that white solid line. You're locked off. You have entered it. It is now locked. For the purposes of driving, that might as well be a 3-foot high concrete barrier. You cannot re-enter the road because traffic saw you exit, and they don't expect you to try to come back over in front of them because you exited. All of a sudden, you drive right back over that solid line, right back into traffic, causing people to hit their brakes or hit you.
Yes.
And so I do give that ticket.
Yeah.
Because those solid lines mean something. That's what they're there for. Solid yellow. You can't pass. That's what it's there for. You can't pass the car in front of you. And those are put there for a reason. It could be because there's a curve up ahead, a hill up ahead. There's too many driveways on that street to do that with. If you have the solid line on your side and the other lane has the dotted line, they can pass, go in their direction. You can't until it flips to where you have the dash line on your side and the solid line in the other lane. Now you can pass. Those lanes are for. If you see just regular white dashes or yellow dashes, you can pass whenever you need to, anywhere on that road. A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, so
you cannot U-turn within 500 feet of a curve for a reason. So that traffic has a way to get away from you. If you turn around, they have a time to stop before they slam into you.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. So these are all disregarding official traffic control devices. Now, there are specific ones like disregard a stop sign, disregard a red light. Those are because that's specifically what you did.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, if you can use disregard traffic control devices on any violation of a roadway sign, marking, or light, it means the same thing.
Yeah.
You disregarded it.
True. So it's like kind of dash. If there's dashes, you can pass. Solid, forget about it.
Yeah, can't. Sorry.
Can't do it.
It is what it is. It sucks, but it is what it is. But if you try and you crash is your fault. You could potentially face actual prison time because you did what you were not supposed to do. And if you have a license, you're doubly screwed because the signature license says you went through driver's ed, you took the test, you passed the test, you know the laws, and you chose to disregard it. So you knowingly and intentionally disregarded the laws that are put there for road safety, and now could potentially face a very serious penitentiary charge. Like you might actually go to prison because you chose to disregard these laws. So these aren't put there for fun. They're put there to save lives and knock down the crash rate. I'll tell you right now, Texas, I got the statistics a while back for 2022, because we won't get 23 till probably about mid-24. 32,000 crashes in Texas in 22.
It's a lot.
32,000. We have more crashes here than other states who have more people in them than we do. We have more than New York. Now, a lot of that is because New York by itself is 25 million people in New York City, and most of them take taxis and walk. But still, 32,000 crashes in 1 year in one state? That's ridiculous. And 12,000 of those are fatalities? We've not had a deathless day in Texas on the road since 2001. Which, what I mean by that is we've not gone a single day without at least one fatality anywhere in the state. Crashes are always caused by one person doing something stupid.
Yeah.
A crash is very rarely the non-fault of somebody, unless it's like a cow got in the road, a horse got in the roadway. That's a little different. That's an animal. I'm talking about when two cars meet, somebody did something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So opposing matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Somebody did something dumb. So that's what drives me nuts. People, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. It was one of his fault. And I just got to figure it out because neither one of these telling me the truth. But based on the roadway evidence, the skid, the yaw, the impact, something caused this.
Oh, yeah.
One, he did something dumb. And I'm going to figure out who it is so I can put him at fault.
Yeah.
People think, and I've done it before, where I've walked up on traffic stops, and while I'm talking to them, I see that they have bald tires. They think I can't give a ticket for that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Of course I can.
Bald tires is a safety
It's a safety issue. The tire can only be down so much tread before it can't be on the road now. It will fail an inspection for a reason. Mm-hmm. Tread is there to keep the car from sliding around. That's what it's there for. If you're trying to run bald tires in the rain, you're going to crash.
Might as well be ice skating.
Might as well be. Tires are designed, roadways are designed to even drive the roadway speed on the speed limit sign with working tires to still be able to make turns like normal. Because the tires had a minimum of 3/32 of an inch of tread. But if you got bald tires, you try to take that same curve at 70 miles an hour that you could do with full tread, you're going to slide right out the road because physics don't change. And the physics are very unforgiving.
Yep. It's one thing that's not that doesn't really care about social cues, feelings, whatever is physics.
Physics are physics. Another one, cracked windshields.
Yeah, like some people don't see that as a big deal, but it's kind of weird when you got this very long or these very like spider webs looking cracks on the driver's side. And you're driving, and I don't know how they're able to see. It must be looking through a kaleidoscope.
And they're not able to, and that's why it's an offense. So there's a twofold reason that's an offense. One, they can't see, but two, that windshield is now what's called compromised.
Mm-hmm.
That windshield is no longer whole and intact, which means the next rock might actually make it through the windshield and hit you.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing to do when you're doing 75 miles an hour on the highway and a truck in front of you kicks up a boulder into you, and instead of bouncing off your windshield, it comes through it and hits you.
Yeah.
I think anyone here, even the dumbest person, can go, yeah, that's probably not a good idea, and because then I'll swerve and I'll crash or I'll wreck or it'll kill me. Yeah, there's a reason we have windshields on cars, why they're required by law to be on cars. For that very reason. Now, motorcycles are not required to have windshields. You're not required to wear helmets. Good luck. I wish you the best. I'm not sure, 100% sure. I may be misremembering. I do believe there was a law you had to have some kind of eye protection on a motorcycle. But I'm not 100% sure. I know there's a state that I think Florida requires some kind of eye protection by law. You must have something, sunglasses, something in front of your eyes. And that makes sense. You hit a June bug at 70 miles an hour in the eye. Let me tell you something. I've done it and it stings a lot. So not a bad idea to wear just some kind of at least eye protection. Goggles, sunglasses, something that protects your eyes. There's so many. I mean, there's just so many that you just want, front bumper. You have to have a bumper on your car. People don't believe me when I tell them that, but yes, by law, you have to have a bumper on your car.
Yeah, you do.
So if that bumper, which is the plastic piece, comes off the car, your airbag sensors are exposed. All a rock has to do is hit one of them, and they go off in your face at 70 miles an hour on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
I think anybody here can see where that might be a bad thing. Because all of a sudden you have an airbag coming out of your face at 300 miles an hour with a gunpowder charge, and you're doing 75. I can see where that might be an issue. It could be what we call startling.
Yes.
And you may take faulty evasive action, which you know from the crash system, and crash into somebody. So yes, by law, you have to have a bumper on your car. They're required to be there. I don't know why people think they can argue about this. It's black and white in the traffic code. You can read it yourself. Google it.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, you got a phone right here. You're driving with it. You're holding it. You were texting while driving while I stopped you. Maybe you should use that to look up a law. And let's talk about texting while driving.
Yeah, that's a good segue.
Texas, you cannot manipulate your electronic device in any way while you're on the roadway. That doesn't mean stopped or moving. On the roadway. People don't understand that. I see them all the time at lights, texting. Light's green, they're still sitting there texting. Sure, they're not moving. What are they doing? They're impeding traffic. Because the light's been green and you're sitting there, and I'm just sitting there staring. Now I take my body camera off, point it towards our car, and get a nice video of them sitting there impeding traffic. And I'll move the camera to show all the traffic behind them and the green light. You're not going to be able to argue this one with me. I'm going to win this one every time. And then I'll hit the air horn, and they'll, drop the phone and drive, and I'll pull them behind them, light them up, and believe me, traffic's going to let me in to pull this person over. They've been waiting for you to do it because they saw me. So light them up, pull them over, I'll walk up. Hey, the reason I stopped you is you're texting while driving. Oh, but I was stopped. You're on the public roadway. You were impeding traffic because the light was green for 10 seconds before you and I let you know that it was green by hitting my air horn, and they dropped the phone. There's a reason that's not legal. Well, I was on my maps. I was looking at my music. Doesn't matter. You don't have to specifically be texting. You're manipulating your device, and you're not watching the road.
Yeah.
That is the offense. And that came from that crash in New Braunfels, where that kid killed 13 people because he was texting and crossed head on and hit that tour bus.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and the governor changed that law almost overnight because it used to be just a city ordinance. Cities could make an ordinance, texting and driving is illegal in the city limits, blah, blah, blah. That became a state law overnight.
People understand. Glued to your phones. It's just put it down.
The danger's coming through your windshield. That's where the danger's coming from, is your windshield.
Right.
So maybe you should pay attention to your windshield.
It's not worth it. Put the phone
down. So if you're texting a 7-second text, you've crossed 3 football fields in 7 seconds at highway speed, 60 miles an hour. That's a long way to go, and think nothing's going to change in front of you. Car moves over in front of you, slamming the brakes, or try to get to that exit, and you hit that. People, pay attention to the road. Don't worry about your phone. It sucks, but don't worry about your phone. Now, I use text to talk, or talk to text on my iWatch, but I can still watch the road in front of me while talking on my iWatch, I can still see the road in front of me. I'm not looking down at my lap on a phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's not illegal. That's not illegal at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can still watch the road. It's the ones holding the phone in their hand, looking down at their lap. And I love people tell me when I pull them over, I pulled you over texting while driving. No, I didn't. So you were sleeping? What do you mean? You were looking straight down at your lap and not moving your head, so you weren't watching the road. So what were you looking at? Your dick? Okay, I was texting. I know you were texting. I saw it. They think for some reason that we can't tell what they're doing. Like we're just stupid, too stupid to realize what you were doing. No, we realized it just fine.
Mm-hmm.
We figured it out. Big brains over here. We figured it out pretty rapidly. A mirror. You have to have at least one working mirror.
Yeah.
You have to be able to see your blind spot. That's what the mirror's for. And nobody knows how to adjust their mirrors, I've noticed. They have them straight into their car. No, you have to see the blind spot. That's what the mirror's there for. So you can change lanes having to crank your head all the way around to look. Now, should you still look maybe over your shoulder when you're changing lanes to the right? Probably. Probably not a bad idea. Could be a motorcycle right there in the blind spot.
Yeah.
And we're not even going to start talking about commercial vehicles. I'm not a commercial vehicle inspector, but I'll tell you right now, I will never trust gravel haulers because the commercial vehicle inspection unit and the traffic unit I work in has yet to pass a commercial gravel hauler. I'm not talking about freight or fuel. I'm talking about gravel haulers. I've yet to see one pass the safety inspection. I'm talking blown tires, brakes not working, all things that should scare the hell out of you if you're on the road around them.
Because there's the belief that this, like the traffic code, is just nothing but for us to use to harass people to go on fishing expeditions. When you look in countries that really don't enforce traffic laws that they have on the books, it literally looks like Mad Max Fury Road on the road in those videos.
If anybody listening has been to Mexico, yeah, that's what it looks like. I mean, cars that should not be on the road. They got so many lights on some of these pickup trucks in Mexico, it looks like an aircraft landing on final approach. It blinds everybody. Now, that serves a purpose if you're driving out in Durango in the middle of nowhere in the desert. Yeah, you're on a roadway. There is no reason to blind every car coming at you for a mile. That is just stupid. But that's the consequence of not having vehicle inspections.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least enforcing it.
I'm
sure it's on the books. They just don't enforce it.
Yeah.
So we enforce them here. So that knocks down the crash rate, believe it or not. I love how Europe does things. When I was stationed in Europe, if you didn't have insurance, they put a boot on your car, and that car doesn't move till you bring current proof insurance back down to the police station. They're going to charge you for the pleasure of removing that boot off your car, and that car don't drive again until you bring that insurance in. I think that's wonderful. I think that's fantastic. I don't remember ever seeing an uninsured vehicle when I was in Europe. You had to have it.
Yeah.
But they made sure you were going to have it. If they pulled you over no insurance, it was a mandatory automatic tow, no questions asked. That car's gone. Goes right to the tow yard, and there it sits until you bring insurance. I think it's a wonderful idea. And that's why I only paid $80 a month for a €2 million policy, which is $4 million American. But that's it was good. $80 a month. Can you imagine how much a $4 million insurance policy would cost here in the United States?
Oh, astronomical.
Oh, it'd probably be $800 a month. That's the clean driving record. So, do you have any you want to address before we close this out and wish everybody a wonderful weekend?
There's another trend too that I'm seeing is headlights being any other color than white.
Thank you.
Now,
I forgot that.
The state of Texas, the headlamps must be white. It's in black and white. so the headlamps must be white. But there are a lot of cars that I'm seeing with headlights that match the paint color of the car because it's cool.
Amber, red, purple, yellow, green, blue.
And don't get me wrong, I think it looks cool. You see like a cherry red, Dodge Challenger, maybe with the black racing stripes, something like that. And then he has, pretty cool looking red headlights. Hey, that's awesome. But what's not going to be awesome is the traffic stop and we'll have to do when you stop and I write you a ticket for using equipment not approved. And when I specify what it is, red headlights.
Yep. So the traffic code says all headlights must be white.
Yep.
That's it.
There's no end all. There's nothing no way that you can get around it. Like it's very specific.
So turn signals in the front must be white or amber.
Mm-hmm.
Turn signals in the rear must be red or amber.
Yep.
And the only white light you can display in the rear of a car is your reverse lights when you're in reverse, and that is it.
That is it.
So when we tell you, let's say the lens on your tail light is busted out. But you hit the brakes, they come on, but one of them is white now because we can stop you for that. Because you're displaying white light to the rear, not while reversing.
Yep.
So you're going to throw people off because, is this guy reversing on me? And they freak out and slam on the brakes because all they see is white lights all of a sudden. And everybody knows that means reverse.
Yes.
Let's talk about underglow. Now, underglow is legal, which drives me up the wall, drives me bananas. But you cannot have flashing red and blue underglow.
Which I've seen before. Yeah.
I've seen that, and I'll stop that car. Because those colors are reserved for law enforcement and first responders. You cannot have red and blue flashing underglow in your car. That is absolutely illegal. Because you are impersonating a police officer, and you're forcing cars on purpose to get out of your way. They see the red and blue, you pass them, laughing. You're not a police car.
Yeah.
And that's why they're doing it. That's the only reason they're doing it. Don't tell me they just love the colors red and blue flashing. They're doing it to get traffic out of the way. So that is absolutely illegal. 100% illegal. Cannot do it. Now, what is not illegal, and we were all told growing up was illegal, was having the interior dome light on your car while driving at night. That is not actually illegal. So there was always a misconception when I was growing up that, if you have the dome light on while driving at night, it's illegal. It's not. Not one bit illegal to have the dome light on in your car while driving. Do I recommend it? No, because you're still at night flashing out your vision by having a light on inside the car.
Yes.
It's not illegal. So just so y'all know, you can drive peacefully and in safety with your dome light on, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
So folks, here at Running Code, we like to find the funny, but we do like to educate.
Yeah.
We believe it's important that people know these things because there's so many misconceptions out there about laws and cars and what they can do. And we want to kind of peel the veil back from that so that everybody can be informed and have the knowledge right there in black and white. And if you don't believe us, which is your right, you're free to Google the Texas Traffic Code, the Texas Penal Code, the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, and look this stuff up yourself and read it for yourself.
Yeah.
And if anyone finds something that we're wrong about, message us. We'd be happy to print a retraction. We're not the media. We'll tell you we were wrong. We have no problem saying, "Hey, we were wrong." We're not CNN, so or Fox. I don't want to bash.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'll bash them both.
I appreciate it.
Right.
I appreciate it.
We have no problem admitting when we're wrong, but prove it, just like we can prove it. So, listeners, we hope you have a fantastic week. Fellow officers, be safe. Please be safe in this coming week. Now the holidays are behind us. Thank you, God and Greyhound. They're gone. Back to business as usual. Don't forget your reports. It's 24, not 23. I'm going to see a lot of scratches. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to write 23 and have to slide through it and put 24 for about the next month. But everybody have a safe week. Listeners, take care of yourselves. Anybody's got questions, please shoot them to us at our Twitter and Instagram at Running Code. We'd be happy to answer them. That's what we're here for. So, J-Man, anything to add?
Nope, that's it.
All right, everybody. It's been a great show. Y'all take care of yourselves, and we're out of here.